We're always taught to think of silence as an absence, right? Just a lack of sound. But what if it's not an absence at all? What if it's a presence? A space that's actually filled with unspoken meaning, with tension, and with a very subtle kind of power. That's what we're going to get into today, the skill of silence. What really happens in that space between words? It's not just emptiness. See, in that little gap, a whole hidden psychological drama starts to unfold. It's a space where intentions get revealed and power can shift, often without anyone saying a single thing.
I mean, you know the feeling. A conversation has a certain rhythm, a kind of back and forth flow, and then all of a sudden, it just stops. And what's left behind, it feels like more than just a pause, doesn't it? It feels like a void, almost like a little tear in the social fabric that creates this immediate, almost primal urge to fix it. And right out of that void, this palpable pressure starts to build. It's a really uncomfortable weight in the room, a silent demand for someone, anyone, to just break the tension and say something.
So, why? Why does a simple lack of sound carry so much psychological weight? Well, the answer isn't something we consciously think about. It's actually a deep subconscious reflex. It's known as the 6-second reflex, and it's this powerful, pretty much universal impulse. Our brains are basically hardwired to see a gap in conversation, not as a moment of rest, but as a problem that needs to be solved immediately. 6 seconds. That's the rough tipping point. After just that short window of time, our subconscious just starts screaming at us to fill the void, to fix the perceived tension. And the really crucial part here is that this isn't a rational choice you're making. It's a conditioned response, almost like a primal instinct kicking in to keep the social harmony and, avoid the discomfort of the unknown. But here's where it gets interesting. Once you understand that this reflex exists, a new question comes up. What happens when someone decides to consciously resist it? What if they take that pressure and turn it into a strategic tool? There's an old saying in negotiation that captures this perfectly. The person who breaks the silence is the one who gives in to that pressure. And in their rush to just stop feeling uncomfortable, they often give up a little ground or reveal information they didn't mean to. They're basically negotiating against themselves. So by simply resisting that 6-second reflex, the silence is totally transformed. It's not an awkward pause anymore. It becomes a kind of invisible interrogation. It applies this immense pressure without saying a word, and it compels the other person to reveal what they're really thinking. But let's dig a little deeper. Why do we even react this way in the first place? The core reason is tied to one of the most fundamental drivers in all of human interaction, our subconscious perception of status. And it really breaks down into two completely opposing mindsets. From a low-status perspective, a pause feels like a failure, a social mistake that has to be fixed. But from a high-status view, that exact same pause is an opportunity. It's a tool for observation, a tool for interrogation. And this is the absolute key takeaway. Your internal reaction to silence, it works like a diagnostic tool. That urge to fill the void, or your comfort just sitting in it, reveals a deep subconscious belief about your own place in the social hierarchy of that specific moment. So this is the ultimate way to reframe the whole idea. That silent gap, it's not a void to be scared of. It's a mirror. And it's reflecting your own insecurities, your confidence, and your subconscious understanding of power right back at you. So the next time a conversation just halts, watch your own gut reaction. Is your first impulse to see it as a failure, as some kind of mistake that you feel personally responsible for fixing? Or can you sit with that pressure and see it not as a problem, but as a space for observation? A strategic moment to simply allow the other person to reveal themselves. Because when the words finally stop and that pressure starts to build, you have to ask yourself who is really holding the power, the person who feels compelled to speak or the one who's comfortable in the quiet.